Hey Zeke, have you heard about this year's Patriots Pen Essay Contest?
No, Morgan, I haven't.
Really? Because this year's theme is My Pledge to Our Veterans.
Oh, the one that has 300 to 400 words?
Yeah. Is there a deadline for this essay?
You have to submit your essay to your local VFW no later than October 31st.
Are there any students that are ineligible to compete in this contest?
I'm glad you asked, because foreign exchange students and previous state winners cannot compete in this contest.
Well then, what students can participate?
Public, private, and homeschooled 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. You have to submit your essay to your local VFW no later than October 31st.
To all middle school students, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade across the nation, whether you're homeschooled, private schooled, or public schooled.
Make sure to submit your essay to your local VFW by October 31st. You can find your local VFW at vfw.org.
If you ask any given VFW or VFW auxiliary member what event we look forward to most, you are most likely to hear, oh, it's the VOD and Patriots Pen Award Night.
Yes, sir.
Because this is our time to honor those bright, young people who give us hope for our future. And after hearing these essays this evening, we will all go home knowing that our country and our future is in great hands. We thank the parents and the teachers who have clearly taught these talented young people patriotism, pride, and a very strong work ethic. We thank you for that.
Before she announces the winner, I'll say just a few words. It's not just me and my wife, Miss Lulu, it's my family. And my cousin was killed in Vietnam. Before I ever knew him, and I always like to say he's my cousin I never knew, but I knew him all my life. I usually go through and try to find some things to read, and I just happened to be going through the virtual wall where people go in and post remembrance comments, and I found a couple that I want to share with you. But first of all, Paul Alvin was with Alpha Battery. He was awarded the Purple Heart posthumously, the National Defense Ribbon, the Southeast Asia Service Medal, and the Vietnam Campaign Medal from the Republic of Vietnam, and the Combat Action Badge. Filled May 2nd, 1968. Now I got this off of the remembrance, and one of his comrades wrote this. Corporal Paul A. Harrison was an artilleryman serving with Alpha Battery, 1st Battalion, 11th Marines, 3rd Marine Division. The 11th Marine Artillery units provided supporting fires for 1st Marine Division Reconnaissance Team Combined Action Platoon units of the U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, Civilian Irregular Defense Groups, Republic of Korea Marines, and Army of the Republic of Vietnam, ARVN, units, and forward observers accompanying these units while operating with the division area of responsibility. During May 1968, enemy attacks on Marine artillery position had increased remarkably. At 2 p.m. on May 2nd, the 1st of 11th Command Post at the Phu Bai Airfield in Thu Thanh Province received approximately 50 rounds of 82 millimeter enemy mortar fire. During the attack, Corporal Harrison sustained fatal fragmentation wounds to the left side and the chest and left buttocks. 15 other Marines were wounded. The battery responded with counter mortar fire on the suspected enemy position with unreported results. And I also found this one here that's very fitting. And it's almost just like an essay, like we've asked the Patriot Pen contestants to write. And I thought it was very fitting for the event. Paul, Pops, you haven't been forgotten. Being the son of one of our cousins, Mary, I knew you growing up from a few pictures and stories that I was told by relatives. I kept for a time your boot camp portrait on my wall, the relative I would never get to meet. My father had been in Vietnam, but with another branch of the military, and as a mechanic, a different type of experience from what you had to undergo. I wonder as a kid what that experience must have been like, and realization of how I would not be in existence if my father had met your fate. I think of all the children who were not born to the world because their fathers didn't come home. War certainly steals from the future in so many ways. Thanks to this wall, I am learning some things now that I didn't know then. For I've been in touch with one of your old buddies, Ron Dabney, now in Idaho, who my message after seeing his post here. The other night, we talked on the phone for about 2 hours about Vietnam, the time Ron knew you, and sadly your death. You didn't live to see the internet, and it is not all positive, I can tell you. But sometimes it does make connections happen that probably would not have happened otherwise. For that I'm grateful. But I would have much preferred to have met you sometime in the 1970s as a kid whose mother's cousin has survived this tour and was living a good life in Arkansas next to family and friends. That is how it should have been. And I do not have any idea who that family member was. I just happened to find it on the remembrance board. Thank y'all.
Okay, District 4, Post 5225. West Memphis, Amaryn Burdette.
Looks like this must have been the 5th year that we sponsored it. Just to let y'all know, this plaque hangs at department headquarters, and each year, whenever the first place winner comes, their name is put on the plaque. So her name will be on the plaque and hanging at department headquarters.
Now this young lady is going to be reading her essay for us.
My pledge to our veterans. My pledge to our U.S. veterans is to remember their sacrifices, uphold the U.S. Constitution, and be a good citizen. I can do these things in several different ways. One way I can remember our veterans' sacrifices is to know that they gave their time, and in some cases their lives, when they left their families to serve. They did this to protect our country and freedom. Remembering these things encourages me to put more effort into supporting them. Attending parades in their honor, observing Veterans Day, visiting memorials such as the Wall of Heels, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and singing the national anthem are all ways I can show my appreciation. I can also uphold the U.S. Constitution just like the Veterans Pledge to do. I can vote when I'm older, choosing leaders that represent my beliefs. I can also value my freedoms and not take them for granted. Some of these freedoms include the freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petitioning the government. Some ways that I enjoy these freedoms now are by going to church, writing to voice my opinions, having access to news, attending school, and advocating for change if something isn't right. I can make sure others enjoy their freedoms by encouraging them to stand up for themselves and their rights. The U.S. Constitution and the veterans who defended it allow us to live in a free country. Citizens in other countries may not be so lucky. I can also be a good citizen by being kind and helping others, like the less fortunate and elderly. I can donate money and food to the less fortunate and volunteer at nursing homes. I can also be kind at school and church by helping my friends with homework, with schoolwork, and participating in mission trips with my church. In conclusion, even as a kid, there are many ways for me to remember our veterans' sacrifices, uphold the U.S. Constitution, and be a good citizen. If we all pledge to do this, just think of the difference we could make together.
What school do you go to?
West Memphis Christian.
Okay, that's a private school. Okay, so this is the second private school win for Arkansas in 78 years. And how old are you?
12.
So you're 12. What grade are you in?
7th grade.
7th grade. Okay. Who was your teacher?
I have a lot of teachers.
Who was any of them influenced you for this?
Miss Fogelman, my English teacher.
Okay. But mainly your parents? Mm-hmm. Okay, so kudos to the parents for getting you into this program. Did you think you were going to win?
Not really. I mean, I still had like a little hope, but I didn't really fully expect myself to win.
When it came down to 4th, 3rd, 2nd, were you getting nervous?
Yes.
Did you know you won once they called 2nd place?
Yes.
So you already knew, so we didn't need a drum roll or anything like that. Okay. So what was your total win so far? Yeah, what, 500 here plus 50 at the auxiliary? How much did you win at post and district?
What?
How much did you win at your post and district? You remember?
I don't know.
You remember?
It got delayed.
Usually it's about 150 at post and 150 at district, somewhere in there, or it's 100 at post and 200 at district. It should come out to about 300.
Last year it was about 300 or 350.
Yeah, okay. So 50 for the state auxiliary, 500 for this program. Then you got your name etched on that plaque that hangs in the state headquarters.